Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Snyder, the Director of Teacher and Principal Support at the Nebraska Department of Education, and I'd like to thank you for joining my esteemed colleagues and me as we talk about one of the newly revised Nebraska Teacher and Principal Performance Standards. I'll have my colleagues introduce themselves now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ellie Fields, and I'm a former high school student from Harvard Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Michelle Helt, a third grade teacher in South Sioux City and the 2018 Nebraska Teacher of the Year.
Hi everybody, I'm Julie Downing. I'm a staff developer with ESU 13 and I also work in partnership with NDE as an educator effectiveness specialist.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Tion. I'm faculty at the University of Nebraska at Kearney, where I work in educational administration.
Hello everyone, I am Tawana Grover, the superintendent of Grand Island Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Charity Labrie, a principal with Grand Island Public Schools.
The newly revised Nebraska Teacher and Principal Performance Standards serve as the foundation of a much broader educator effectiveness system that focuses on a shift in how Nebraska supports and develops its teachers and principals. The standards are rooted in two primary themes, equity and data-based decision-making, which become visible through a common language of expectations, a better understanding of the knowledge and skills necessary to be effective teachers and principals in Nebraska, a commitment to staff support and development, and a focus on family and community engagement. The standard that we will be discussing now is the Principal Standard of Professional Ethics and Advocacy. And Charity, since you are the principal of this crew, I'll have you go ahead and start talking about it while I share my screen.
Perfect. Principals must model excellent character both inside and outside of school. With great power comes great responsibility. And it's key that principals understand this belief and model it to the best of their ability.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of this standard is the high standards and responsibility principals are expected to maintain.
The standard reads, the principal, as an instructional leader, exhibits a high level of professional ethics and advocates for policies of equity and excellence in support of the vision, mission, and goals of the school.
Indicator A states that an effective principal places students at the center of education and shares a collective responsibility for each student's academic success and well-being.
Student success is the true north of any school, and it is the principal's responsibility to ensure each student is placed in an environment that not only addresses specific learning needs, but also their social and emotional well-being.
There are multiple roads that lead to success for each student. So honoring the different perspectives of school leadership, along with the perspectives of stakeholders, allow principals to embrace their responsibility confidently and collectively to achieve the desired impact for equity.
Whether we are working with teacher candidates, leading a new teacher academy, working in a district PLC, or sharing the leadership with seasoned educators, the number one goal of ESUs is to improve the system for students.
Indicator B states an effective principal proactively navigates the political, social, economic, legal, and cultural environment in which the school exists in support of the school's vision, mission, and goals.
School leadership is complex. Superintendents must navigate the mission and help principals to understand the role they play and the development of necessary skills to move their buildings forward. Having a strong foundation based on the mission and vision is critical, and the ability to communicate the mission and vision while also galvanizing support has a dramatic impact on a leader's ability to move the organization forward efficiently and effectively.
Effective principals embrace the enormous responsibility of determining the best course of action to guide and support our next generation of citizens. Principals must lead the appropriate narrative that staff can embrace and support, and in turn, lead the vision and difficult work that is required to prepare our students for a world that does not yet exist. Leading this work is never easy, and one must have tenacity and drive in order to take on the difficult topics.
An effective principal anticipates and prepares for problems within the school community. They are proactive instead of reactive. Principals also work to remove barriers that prevent the school from fulfilling its vision, mission, and goals.
Indicator C states an effective principal protects the established rights and confidentiality of student and staff.
Students and staff deserve to attend an establishment where they are cared for and protected, and the leader of the school sets the tone and expectation for that to happen. Confidentiality creates the foundation of the school and the belief that all matter.
As superintendents, we lead the way in communicating the importance and the necessity of confidentiality and safeguarding, whether it be for staff or students. Superintendents must guide the policymaking with the Board of Education to ensure the rights of protection are honored and prioritized. School leaders must be prepared and equipped to implement defined procedures and respond accordingly to any breach that compromises the welfare of those under their care.
Confidentiality must be a component of every educator's DNA. Teachers, administrators, and school staff must always protect their students and colleagues, as they will be continuously probed for information from outside sources. Principal preparation programs must emphasize the importance of ethical behavior in these regards and share strategies for principals to use with their staff.
Indicator D states an effective principal models ethical behavior, acting according to and promoting the professional norms of integrity, fairness, transparency, trust, collaboration, perseverance, reflective practice, and personal continuous improvement.
System leaders chart the course for ethical leadership. Building a culture of strong character is the gateway to an impactful education. Strong character sets the stage for a leader to foster an environment of continuous improvement through integrity and trust in everyday decision-making.
Principals must be willing to self-reflect as well as lead. There are times when we have to take a tough look at ourselves and how we model our beliefs. There are times we must adjust and change behavior to better reflect our beliefs, goals, vision, and mission for our school and community. This work is never done as we are constantly evolving.
I have so much pride in the work of ESUs in our state as models of excellence. Because service is the middle name of ESUs, it's necessary that all ESU staff strive to model distinguished professionalism.
Indicator E states an effective principal holds self and others in the educational community accountable for adhering to established standards of integrity and ethical behavior and handles conflict resolution with professionalism.
Effective leaders understand the enormity of responsibility that exists when leading a school. Educating students is one of the most important jobs, and leadership has a direct impact on the success or failure of that education. It is our character and professionalism that lead the work of the school community learning and growing into productive citizens.
We cannot underestimate or overlook how much our staff, students, and community look to school leadership to uphold high standards for all. It is even more important that as leaders, we recognize the exponential impact of holding ourselves to an even higher standard. We are influencing not only the matters that come before us, but the ripple effect of what comes after our actions. We should always be striving to make a positive difference, even through turbulent situations.
As a member of the educational community, it is not always easy being under the microscope of public opinion. An effective principal understands this and knows the best way to lead is by example. I can count on my principal to hold themselves to the same high standards as teachers are. I also know if there are conflicts, they will be handled professionally, and once the matter is resolved, all involved parties will move on without ongoing consequences. In other words, once a problem has been dealt with, it is put to rest and focus will return to student success.
Indicator F states an effective principal engages in purposeful, positive conversations and activities throughout the educational community to advocate publicly for the importance of education, the needs of students, staff, and self, and educational priorities.
Leaders have to stand ready to advocate for the advancement of educational quality and equity for students. Superintendents and principals work hand in hand to understand the district's strategic plan and outline resources necessary to achieve the goals for students. The ability to effectively articulate needs at the local, state, and national level is part of the equation to sustainability and continuity of learning for years to come.
Principals must be relentless in their approach of advocating for their students and staff. Educating the community about partnerships that can benefit student learning needs is important to the community. There cannot be a gap between perception and reality when viewing the partnerships of the school and the community.
We must continue to advocate for those things held most closely to our hearts, and the education of our kids must be at the top. Schools are often easy targets for those on the outside, as it is often easy to pick out any shortcomings or deficiencies of any organization based on little actual data. Building principals must lead their staff in promoting and supporting the efforts of schools, becoming active members of the community, sharing the message whenever possible. Principal preparation programs should create opportunities for candidates to do community outreach through their programs. Community outreach is an area in which many principal candidates struggle, as teachers are trained to work with kids and not necessarily adults.
Indicator G states an effective principal builds and maintains sound relationships with the educational community, including staff and students, based upon personal integrity, dignity, and mutual respect.
Principals must be able to build social relationships with all in the community, which takes a very specialized skill. It's not easy to be relatable to a kindergarten student as well as a business owner. The character and integrity of a principal will lead the way for this work to be accomplished. A principal must be approachable as well as hold high standards of excellence. This is also a delicate balance and can take some time to develop.
Superintendents are the catalyst for relationship building. When we develop relationships, we create a deeper level of engagement with the community. These authentic opportunities to understand the lived experiences of the people we serve help leaders make informed connections on a broader scale with networks of entities who are willing to partner together for the benefit of students.
ESUs are the connection between and among schools, higher education, NDE, and all of the students we share. Nebraska is served well as a result of the relationships and collaborations among these entities.
Indicator H states an effective principal assumes responsibility for professional growth and leadership development, both as an individual and as a member of a learning community.
Principals must be knowledgeable enough to lead the work while learning alongside the staff and being open to new perspectives about an initiative. Leaders can never just relax and bask. They must continually be growing and learning and identifying ways to better support their staff and students so they can continue to be a success. Hard work is a skill no leader can be without.
It is imperative to exhibit lifelong learning and support principals in utilizing data systems to ensure staff are growing and developing in identified areas needed to support student learning. When we grow as educators, we grow our students. We grow our students. We are positioned to grow Nebraska.
In readdressing my original statement, principals are held and expected to maintain a high level of professionalism. With that being said, they must be able to also find a balance between this high standard to which they are held and the reality of being a personable individual. This level of expectation needs to be present in order to maintain an appropriate level of order and discipline within the school system. However, principals who find a balance and allow themselves to exhibit some emotion and feeling display a level of realness and honesty that students and staff both appreciate.
Thank you again for joining us as we talked about one of the standards. If you have any questions, please contact me at this email address. Thank you, everybody.